All right, welcome back to the TNEC cast, episode 29. Man, time is flying. You see, we back on that regular schedule. We had some things going on. I know I mentioned it last week, but I'll mention it again. It's nice to be back into our routine. I'm your boy Shuff, my brother the Weapon K, and like I said, we are the TNEC cast. The little housekeeping, obviously, like, comment, subscribe. We got some goals to hit, and the year is running out. We behind right now, so we need y'all help, And I'll say this real quick before we ask, Kay, how he's doing. If you have any topics, questions, anything that you guys want to hear or want to be a part of, you want to come on and ask these questions, reach out to us. Anyway, whether it's put it in the comments, emailing us, messaging us, however it is, we're connecting with y'all. We don't want to just be talking at you. We want to talk with you and give you things that you can take and use it, whether it's in your training, your nutrition, your personal life, whatever it is. That's kind of where we want to be with that. So had to get that out of the way right in the early portion. Make sure why y'all still tuned in and everything. But it's okay. How you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I'm chilling. As we're trying to find a topic for this episode, he was just like, yeah, let's do progress over perfection. And he's going after it. I'm trying to figure out what episode we're on and stuff. And then episode 25 is progress over perfection.
It was 25? Shit.
It was just a few weeks ago. However, and this is what I came to realize, that's a lot of content. If we're starting to, think of the same ideas, that, like, let's say each episode's 30 minutes long. Bro, that's 13, 14 hours worth of content right there at your disposal. So, hey, if anything, go back and watch some just in case you missed the gem. It's hours of content, just really, for the free. So you can't beat that. You can't beat that. So, Isaac, what's the topic for today?
Oh my God, I just had a brain fart. We talk about programming. There we go. You can edit that out. I just got scared as shit because he said, like, oh my God. Hey, we keep it real here.
No facts. Ain't no cuts.
No, as we were talking, we do our prep before we hop on here, and Kyrie mentioned that we never really have talked about programming, and something we've talked around, but we haven't directly spoke about. So now we're going to speak about it. When we say programming, we mean your training, how you approach it from a systematic standpoint, i.e., are you going in there with a plan? What is your plan? Where did you get your plan from? Things of that nature. So what's going to be nice is you're going to get to hear this conversation from a lot of different aspects. You hear it from the coach's aspect, you'll hear it from the athlete aspect, you'll hear it from the competitor aspect, and you hear it from the lifestyle aspect. So we're going to loop all that in, and hopefully this generates some questions from people. So I'm going to actually swing it back to Kay, and I'll ask a question. I'm going to ask it like this. What does programming mean to you in terms of workouts?
So programming, if you would have asked me that prior, like, let's say prior to nationals, programming is just like, my split. How am I going to split up my body parts so it's like I get the same amount of volume and like distribute the volume in such a way so I can maximize it and make sure it's optimal. But, talking to my coach, Kyle, programming is so much more than that, right? So you got your mesocycles, your macrocycles, your mesocycles, stuff like that. Big words, I can't read. But whenever you break things down, so like, for example, what my programming is like I have a microcycle of very high volume, another one of high volume, and another one of like low volume. So everything is just structured. So if I had to like describe programming, it's just structure. And however deep you want to bring that, because you have people who don't log their workouts and they make great gains, and you have people who log the workouts but kind of fudge the numbers just a little bit because they're just Superman and they just want to make themselves feel good. So you see what I'm saying? They don't make that great gains, but at the end of the day, it's all about structure. So what do you use kind of keep track of your workouts, your progressive overload? Do you logbook? Is that like your cup of tea?
So I log everything in our app, and I just got so used to it. So like so for example, when I was coaching myself, I put all my stuff in there, and then when I got with my coach, I just took what he had and I put it in there so that way I could just log it. So that's the way I measure it. There's a lot of different ways. Some people, you got the notepad people, you got the people that use the note section in their in their phone. And so one thing I'll say, like for example, because you brought up something I was going to bring up, progressive overload. So with progressive overload, that's just the best way to put that is your workouts gradually get harder. That's the easiest way to put it. So i.e. you start to do either more volume, which would be more reps, more sets, more weight, and you just gradually, move up. And that's one of the big principles I use, because look, at the end of the day, when we talk about sticking to the basics, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You cannot reinvent progressive overload. You can do different little things and change, but at the end of the day, progressive overload is progressive overload. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, the number one thing, because you talked about structure. So the number one thing is to know what you're doing. So no matter how you track it, because for example, whether you have a coach or whether you don't have a coach, or you're at a point where you're stagnant and you want to get a coach because you're like, hey, I want to get to the stage, or I want to X amount away from this goal and I really need help. I'm going to ask you, well, how have you been tracking your workout? What are you doing? Because if you don't know, then what I have to do is, as a coach, I got to start a little bit further back, because now I got to learn a little bit more. But if you okay, this is what I'm doing, boom, boom, boom. Now we can, instead of starting at step 1, we can maybe start step 3 or step 4, And I don't necessarily like to skip steps, but at the same time, if I have somebody that I've seen on stage, 3 or 4 times, and they say, hey, my coach can't get me to that level. I've talked with them and I want to, go, you can get me to the next level. I've seen kind of what's going on. You know what I mean? So I have that versus somebody I've never seen before. I don't know anything, and they come to me for their programming. Kyrie touched on a lot of great things when it comes to that, but I'm going to come back to structure again. So when you go in and you work out, right, especially if you have a coach, you are being coached and everything is off of that workout. Now, every athlete's a little bit different. There's some athletes where Kyrie mentioned where you just give the splits. So you'll put on the however your coach is giving you the workout. So say, okay, you do your push day, your pull day, you're doing rear chain, legs, hands, whatever it is. And they tell you, okay, your workout shouldn't be more than an hour and a half. They'll give you the parameters and then you go do the work. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, which was what most people allow me to do, they let me write the whole thing. So I do the whole workout for tell you, you know what I mean? Now I let you choose the weights, especially in the beginning, because then it's just based off of, what you're doing in the beginning. But that programming all has to do with structure. So now if you start going off the beaten path, that affects the programming and it affects the results. Yep. So don't think that, like, for example, I've had people try to do too much. That can negatively impact the results. It's not just as simple as, you're supposed to do, 7 exercises and you only do 5. Sometimes you're supposed to do 7 exercises and you do 9 or 10. You're burning yourself out way faster, than you need to. That's why you need to have a plan when you go into the gym. Because if you're just walking around aimless, my goodness. And that's, again, why you have to be honest with your coach. Because when I'm programming stuff, right, what I try to do, especially for my lifestyle people, I try to set your workout up. You're at the dumbbell station. You're at the, you're at the cables. So that way you can, it's because you don't want to be aimless. Yep. So for example, let's just say you cannot find dumbbells. You're able to go to the cables, knock out the cable portion, and then you can go back to the dumbbells. So that way, once you're there, you're there. And look, that's not something special that I do. I know several coaches that do that. But what I'm saying, that those are different things about programming. So while programming is a very distinct thing, i.e. structure, i.e. do what is on the paper, the screen, whatever. but there's also a lot of different things that go into it that, that Kyrie was talking about. That's why the goal is important. Are you trying to grow? Are you trying to lean out? Are you training for a marathon? Are you training, what are you training? Because if you just go into the gym, like for example, if you are going to try to run a marathon and you work out the way Kyrie and I do, it's not going to work. It's not going to end good for you, because you're going to be building thick muscle when you need nice, long, lean muscle. You need to run a marathon. So the way your programming is structured towards your goal. Now, a lot of my lifestyle people, they start very similar, because I'm just helping them with basic muscle building. That's why that first 90 days is so important, because we're getting your body ready to go on the journey. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, again, the programming is so important. And if your coach can't explain it to you, I would be a little bit nervous, because you need to be able to explain why when we're programming. For example, and in our world, a term called bring that up. I.e., bring your chest up, bring your delts up. I.e., it means one of two things: either make them bigger or make them better. Sometimes those yeah. But so when we hear those terms, we know, okay, so now when we're going into growth season, we know, okay, our programming, while you still, shout out to Andre Ferguson, we want to double down on your strengths. You still need to make sure you are working on your weaknesses, so that way you have a well-balanced physique. Now, the thing is, though, a well-balanced physique isn't just for the stage. A well-balanced physique is a pretty physique. It's aesthetically pleasing. It's just like the whole thing about facial symmetry. The people that are I can't remember, I don't know why the term is escaping me, but like scientifically beautiful, is because it's the facial symmetry and how each side matches and blah, 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 all that stuff is the same thing with your body. You know what I mean? So we have a lifestyle client, that, conquered a lot of hurdles, and now they're at the point where they're comfortable enough to wear a bathing suit and all these different things. We want to help make their body look aesthetically pleasing. And no, that's not vain. There's nothing wrong with wanting to look good. And don't let people make you feel bad about that. There's zero wrong with wanting to look good. Just allow that to be your definition of what look good. You know what I mean? Could be a six pack, could be a flat stomach, could be, whatever it is, let it be your definition of it. Don't let the world tell you, social media, or just, somebody you care about, that's, or who you're trying to impress, whatever, that's one thing. But I say that to say, because now your programming is going to be based off of that. So when we say the term programming, we're talking about how your workouts will be structured, how they will be changed. Again, progressive overload. If you're carb cycling, for example, if you're carb cycling, when you are a high carb day, you will be on a high volume day. If it's a low carb day, you will be on a low volume day. There's so many. I can go through bing, 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 all the different things. I just hope in all that I said, you understand how important it is to go into the gym with a plan. Because look, we've all done it. Let's not even pretend. We've all done it where we freestyle. And do you know how much time you spend walking around versus actually working? Because you're like, all right, I just did lat pull downs. Do I want to do rows, or okay, what kind do I want to do? And you're sitting there as you're thinking and you're looking. Next thing you know, it's 5. Especially if you're in the gym. Thankfully, way my schedule allows. I can't wait to get back to the gym. But when I'm in the gym, it's really never crowded. When I always am working out for myself. Now, there was a time when I didn't have that freedom, and sometimes it'd be like the after work crowd. After 5 o'clock, and every damn piece of equipment, you got to be, like a hunting, like a lion hunting its prey. Mm-hmm. As soon as you got, pounce and everything like that. But long story long, you have to have structure. You have to have a plan. You have to be prepared, because you'll go in there. If you only have an hour, right? You only have an hour to work out. You gotta, you get off of work at 4:30. You gotta be to the gym no later than 5:15, because you gotta be at the dinner table with your family at 6:30. Or you ain't eating, or you in trouble, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And that goes for men and women. So you have a truncated timetable. You can't mess around in there. You have to have a plan, so that way you have a plan of attack. Because if you see, like I said, if you see something's taken, you know what you can go to, you know all the exercises you need to do. Because at the end of the day, while for the most part your programming is designed for those exercises to be done in that order, it's just like your nutrition. At the end of the day, it's about getting it all done. That's what the number one thing is. But you know, so okay, from the athlete standpoint, in terms of your programming, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. So when Kyle gives you your program, how do you attack it? That's the best way to.
Is that a trick question?
No.
Okay.
That wasn't a plan.
Okay.
I weren't talking.
So,
that wasn't a plan.
So I'm gonna say this in the most Kyrie Cooper way possible. By what's on the piece of paper, right? But we can dig a little deeper in that. Of just like, yeah, like it's just like, how do you attack a diet? You do exactly what is needed. But I think it was like the first week. Okay, so for example, the program that we kind of like sat down and we developed, and it took us like an hour just to like get everything situated for this off season. I ended up scrapping it because it was just like, okay, this doesn't work, right? And it wasn't like the results. It's just because recovery of the days, and it just didn't work. So we're just gonna have to. Sometimes it just doesn't work. You understand what I'm trying to say? You know what I mean? So, where was I going with that? Oh, so so the biggest thing with the programming is the feedback. Right, so yes, like you attack it. You go in there, you do exactly what's on that piece of paper, on your screen, whatever have you. And if it just doesn't work, you don't enjoy your workouts. The recovery is just not there. Just like the timing, like you said, you have to be home on Thursdays. You only got to work out in 45 minutes. You have to be home in like 10. So you don't want to hit that on that specific day. There's so many things, but you have to relay that to your coach.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Big time.
This doesn't work. And the coach, being the great coach that they are, should be like, okay, throw it away. We're going to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Rather than, just make it work. Like, what was that? On Friday, on Friday, it was just like, this ain't enough. It was like, make it enough.
Yep.
Remember that, Chris Rock? But yeah, it's just the feedback part. You figure out why it doesn't work. You let your coach know, they make the adjustments. But the beauty about knowing your own things is because you can make the adjustments if needed, right? Mm-hmm. So with Kyle, it's just like, especially with this off season, it's a conversation rather than him telling me what to do. Hey, Coop, what do you think we should do? Oh, we should do this. Well, I think we should do this. Okay, let's put them together and let's figure this shit out. And then whenever you're in the field like a quarterback and you see something, the defense adjusting, you look to your coach and you're like, I'm going to make this call myself. Hey, hop in the slot real quick. It's that dynamic. But first, you have to know everything about your own game. You have to know everything about your own body rather than just give all reign to your coach. Did I answer your question? I feel like I just went all over the place on that one.
No, you did. You did because the reason why I asked it like that, because some people will get a plan and they'll be like, and they're very timid. Mm-hmm. They're like, I'm not sure. Everybody, does it different. Us, and there's a lot of us, we see it, we do it. You know why? We might see my ask, what is this and how important is it for me to stick to doing this in order? You do have, because you touch on a couple of things. And I'm gonna say the first thing I'm gonna say before the stuff you touched on, you gotta ask questions. If you don't understand or there's something, you gotta ask questions, because from the coaching standpoint, I cannot help you if I don't know. Yeah, we know Coach be knowing, but I'm not a mind reader, and I can't help you. So the coaching dynamic, you've been with Kyle for a while, so it's perfect. It becomes, at first, the coach is kind of telling you what to do. And then it goes to where it needs to be a collaboration. It needs to be a true team effort. Mm-hmm. So now your coach basically becomes your guide. still does a lot of things, but the coach becomes the guide. Those are the best coach-athlete relationships because it's never going to end. Because now you're just, it's always a conversation. It's always, okay, what are we going to do? What do we think is best? Because you got to remember, just like you have to trust your coach has to trust you. Your coach has to trust that you're going to do the work. Your coach has to trust that you're going to all these different things. So, when I'm talking with an athlete, I'm saying, hey, we're going to do this. I have to trust that they're going to do it. You know what I mean? So it's a two-way street, but attacking the program and how you attack it is very important. Because if you're timid, you're not going to get what you want out of it. If you don't ask the questions or anything like that, you're not going to get what you want out of it. So I'm gonna ask myself a question as a coach: how do I attack a program for somebody? So number one is their goals. I'll use a competitor because it's a lot easier because of the way, lifestyle is more ambiguous. The goals also want to look better, things like that. So number one, we get our feedback. We get all of our judges' feedback, and what will stand out to us will be, okay, is there anything that's repeated? Because that usually means that, okay, everybody's seeing the same thing. That's usually probably, one of the top things we need to work on. So what we look for is, okay, what are they telling us are our strengths? What are they telling us are our weaknesses? And then, so then I've developed a program from there. So I'm like, okay, so we're in the off-season mode. When do you want to compete again? Now, we don't need to pick a show or anything like that, but when do you want to compete again? Because I need to know how long, because, for example, when you get deeper into this, you don't necessarily need to prep as long. Now, you still could do 12 and 16-week preps. That's different athlete things. I know I might be going a little high level to people that aren't competitors, but this is good information. So you learn, okay, you may not need to prep as long. So I need to know how much time I have, because when I'm programming, we're sitting there thinking about, okay, because everybody's a little bit different in terms of putting on muscle. So if the judges tell us, we see a consistency of that, you need to put on about 2 pounds of muscle. Now, to the layman, that doesn't sound like a lot, because you just think, oh, I can put on 2 pounds from eating McDonald's for a weekend. It's not that. It takes, even somebody with top flight genetics, minimum takes about 4 weeks to put on a pound of muscle. And we're talking about people that are on the high end of the gene pool. The average is about 6 to 8 weeks. So you see, we're working with 4 to 8 weeks about putting muscle on. So if they're telling us you need 2, we could be talking about 16 weeks or up to 16 weeks to put on 2 pounds of quality muscle. So I say that to say we need to know how long we have to grow and then how long we have to prep. So that way we can fall everything under there. So that way we know, okay, we need to push your calories this much. We need to make sure that you're not doing any cardio during your growth season or minimal cardio. And again, so as you see, when a coach is asking you these questions, we're not trying to trip you up. We're not trying to, be jerks. We need to know. So when we set this program up, that you're paying good money for, it's not just because I said, all right, cool, let me copy and paste this, or no, it's actually because it's being designed for you to follow. So when I'm attacking it, my thing is we're going to do everything we can to bring your weakness to the level of your strengths. So we're going to continue to double down on your strengths, but we're going to work on those weaknesses until they're strengths. That's the way I'm attacking. So if, any of our teammates or any of our athletes are watching this, that's how coaches do when you're playing, point blank period. It's because at the end of the day, it's a simple goal with a lot of strategy involved, getting to the point. But that's why it's so important to follow it, because that's why when we post up these pictures, the stage shots and the before and afters, it's real simple. When you're like, man, why do I not look like that? Or why did I not get those results? How close were you to the plan, baby? That's really what it is. When you see people that, are getting results, and it was with us, with any other team, coaching platform, whatever, they're getting the results because they followed the plan. That's really what it is. So when you pay this money to a coach that's programming for you, giving you your nutrition, telling you when you need to work out, giving you the workouts, if you're just taking it under advisement, your results are on you, not the coach. You know, because I put up something yesterday. I was like, the coaches, we be the last ones to know stuff, but the first ones to get blamed. You know, yeah, it's rough, man. I see people, they'll put stuff on social media about how they're not doing something or wherever they're going back to the gym, and I'm like, damn, must be nice. If I didn't see this social media post, I wouldn't have known that you were doing that. But then we're the bad guys. I had to get that off of my chest. Because it really bothers me. But yeah, man, follow your programming, and that's because. And then last thing, I'll throw it back to Kay, because I really don't got anything much else to say when it comes to the programming. But from the athlete standpoint and from the coach's standpoint, it's about attacking. That's why I use that word. You have to attack it. You have now. Look, sometimes people think attacking something aggressively means going wild and. You know, Kay comes from the military. You don't think snipers are aggressive?
Not at all.
It's the same thing. Their aggression sometimes relies on patience, relies on instincts, but don't mistake aggression for being out of control. Aggressive is, that's why you gotta be aggressively focused, because when your opportunity is there, you strike. So that's my 27 cents or however many cents I gave. I know I gave.
I just want to add one thing. It's just like, yes, whenever you're the importance of tracking and monitoring everything that you do. And this is a strictly competitor lifestyle. I really don't have the tools to kind of talk to you in this language, but I'm talking strictly to the competitors, especially the serious competitors. Off season, in prep, it doesn't matter. You should be tracking everything. Everything. The meals that you ate, the weight you woke up at, your measurements in centimeters to get as precise as possible, your strength, progress pictures, the control that you actually, your tempo of the rep. Because there's different ways to progressive overload. You have the typical weight, set, whatever, but the tempo, the control, form, you can progressively overload the form, keep the actual tension on the muscle, rather than when you're benching, you get that little oomph at the very end. But you have to track all of this, and the more you track, the more that margin of error just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So, and plus, you got to treat this shit as like Kobe Bryant. He's all about the details. When you get down to the nitty gritty and look at the Olympia competitors up there, it's really down to the details. Mm-hmm. It's really down to the details. Like, sure, you can be a house cat, trying to go against mice, and of course you're gonna kill the mice. But what happens when you're at the top of the top and you're in a cage full of lions? You're going to get exposed. So how do you increase your odds so you don't get exposed? That you don't get eaten alive? And it's all about monitoring, tracking, progressively overloading. Pay attention to your programming. Hey, am I getting results in these 8-week span? Am I getting the results that I need to get? Or that's a pound of muscle, whatever it is. Am I going there? No. Look back at the data. All the greats got a logbook somewhere. Mm-hmm. Keeping track of this stuff. So make sure you keep track of your thing if you truly care about this game. If you just want to come in, make a few bucks, get out, hey man, whatever floats your boat. Mm-hmm. But if you truly want to conquer this mountain, get on top of the fucking pyramid, whatever you want, make sure you look at all the details. And that's something that if anything, I wish I could send this back to me whenever I first started. Take pride in the details, because it's going to carry you a long way. But yeah, that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
That's good, man. Well, we're gonna close this one out. I'm gonna say one last thing. We're also talking about progressive overload, rate of perceived effort. A lot of y'all go Google that. that's a good one for you to look up, because especially more our lifestyle clients. I had a conversation with one, and her results went through the roof once she understood that because we had our weekly Zoom, and then broke that down and through the roof. But so closing out episode 29. Hope you guys. I mean, we dropped a lot on y'all today, so shit, we drop a lot every time, right? So I always like saying that, but we dropped a lot. Again, we've had some people commenting religiously, and since we kind of both manage the page, it's hard. We got to get. We're going to get better at replying to the comments. So please keep them coming. But yeah, just thank you for everybody who's been rocking with us, tuning in, especially y'all, because I know there's a few of y'all that actually watched the full episode, man. Y'all the real MVPs, man. We gonna do something special for y'all. I don't know what, but we gonna do something special for y'all. We gonna leave code something, and just drop you $50 in your Cash App or something. We gonna do something, because it's just like we really, really, really greatly appreciate it. But like I always say, like, comment, subscribe, and thanks for tuning in. And I'll let Kay close it the full way out.
If you have no idea what you're doing in the gym, we offer programs. Go in that description, check it out. All right, just go and browse. I'm not asking you to get anything, but if you truly need a guide, go and learn. Because like I got the men's physique one, in the depth.
You saw that, right?
Yo, the depth. And I was just like, fuck that. It was just dense. It was like a dense cheesecake, bro. It's just like, because you just keep. Anyway, go check it out. You won't regret it. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week. Later.